Harry Potter. Hogwarts Legacy. Good game. Spent a lot of time playing it. It was good. It was different. Never played the older games. I know there's some out there. Which is kind of funny because it's like the thing with Harry Potter is that I'm glad it's a game, I'm glad it's a thing, but I wouldn't have been bothered if it just stayed a movie. I don't know. I think some licensed games work and some don't. The thing with this game, like, I spent a lot of time in it. It is really good. There is a story there. There's a lot of good things to be said, but I don't know. There are bad things to say too, and that's what kind of bugs me, because like, sure, there's only a few things here and there that kind of upset me about the game, but at the same time, it's like, you know, yes, it's really good. It was like, it's probably the best Harry Potter game so far, I'd imagine. I never played the old ones, but I just assume, right? But yeah, I mean, next gen port key games, Wizarding World, I don't know, like all the source material was here, but it kind of, games like this, they feel, I don't know, everything's there, right? It's like playing a Star Wars game. Lucasfilm. Source material. Games. You find a studio to do it. God, I don't know. It's like, I think it's really cool, and to be able to play a game that has a movie backing to it, that has that support of the movies and the franchise and the brand overall. I think it's really cool. It's just when I play games like this, which I don't do often, I try to avoid them if I can, honestly, but they are tempting. You see familiar titles that you like and you're interested in, and you play them, and I don't know, it's always been done kind of weird because they're just not really original games. I think it's very rare a game is made and then movies are made from that. Well, it's kind of half and half. And it's funny because either way you kind of lose in some aspect, right? Like, you get a game movie that came from the game. I have no problem with them personally. But yes, there is something there that is kind of just weird. Or in this case, really, like, we're not even gonna, the books, forget it. It's about the movies in the game. This is a game that came from the movies, so, and it's always a touchy thing too, because like, does it matter where it came from? No. I think the end result's usually about the same. And this is someone who's like really tolerable, really open to things, really... God, I don't know, I don't think these guys know how to do games. These people that try to do movie license things, yes, they have the rights to them and all these things. They bought the license. Or there's something like that, right? But, I don't know. It's just, you can't help but like see the movies, and even if you try to fight that so much, it still occurs in your head. At least here and there. The thing is, like, okay, everything was here. Yes, there's no Harry, there's no Hermione, there's no Ron. There's no really anything. There's familiar names, there's familiar things, there's references constantly, Easter eggs, things you didn't know, things you do recognize. But that's all it was the entire time. Like, I don't know. I get that they didn't go for the likeness of the characters, and I'm kind of glad they did that. It is its own thing. It's such a... This one's so tough with me, because it's like... As someone who really does like Harry Potter, casually, this was a game where... It like satisfied me in that perspective, the fact that it is Harry Potter related. I don't know though. It took everything I liked from Harry Potter and kind of... There was none of that really in here. There was... It's all bits and pieces. Yes, there's hippogriffs. Yes, there's this, there's that. But it's not... It doesn't really hit. I don't know. And that's just the overall, like, delivery. That's not even the fact that the UI could be way better, the quality of life could be way better. There's so many little things that they need to touch on bad, especially if they're wanting you, other than the crazy, you know, platinumers, trophy hunters, 100%ers, all that shit. You know, I just think for... Because a lot of... This game is very popular, very good. There's a lot to do. It keeps you busy. There's a lot of loot. There's a lot of history to learn. There's a lot of interesting lore and tidbits and getting to know the characters and your friends and getting to explore Hogwarts and the world around it and kind of go on your own little thing and do a lot of battling, a lot of combat. But those are the problems. Is the whole, like, the looting system kind of sucks. The selling system kind of sucks. There's so many things they could have done just a little bit better. For what they did, I'll give them credit for that. But I think for what was missing, it was so close to being so much better, and I hate when that happens, because it's like, here we have such a good thing. This is the game. This is supposed to be a gold record. Like, it's done, it's finalized, it's equalized, it's edited to the T, it's down to a science. Like, there's no... Games have always had this problem where there's always issues, there's always this, there's always that. Glitches, bugs, there's some of that in here. There's some exploits, some cheeses. I don't know. I can't say I was like uberly excited for this game. I wanted to play it, yeah. But I wasn't really expecting a lot either at the same time. It's like, oh, this is a cool concept. I like this. Ooh, Hogwarts. We get to finally see a lot more than we would have versus like, the movies. And I thought it was a great perspective piece. I thought it was great insight and... But that's all it was to me. I didn't really... I couldn't have really cared much for the interactiveness of it per se, or the immersiveness, or any of that. To me, I would have just been happy just to watch, honestly. I didn't care for the story, you know, big bad guy. It's so typical, like we've seen it 100 times. You know, if I wanted to play something like this, a lot of the time, I would have rather just played some kind of Lord of the Rings game, to be honest. Which is tough because I don't even like the current Lord of the Rings games anyway, so I'd prefer this, obviously, but like... I just got so much of that. This game was trying to be so much. It was trying to be more than it actually is. I think the thing with Harry and Voldemort and his friends and the characters, and that's why I loved Harry Potter. I didn't love it for the creatures necessarily. I didn't love it for just the world in general. Or I know that's what they were trying to do in this game, and they've done past stuff before. But this could have been my time personally to like Hey, I didn't play the older ones. I don't really have an interest in them, to be honest. They're a little too old for my taste. I like Harry Potter, but not that much. This could have... I keep seeing this game for what it could have been, not for what it is. And it's easy to want something you don't have, what you don't get. That's just kind of human nature, I get it. I don't know, I think at first I was excited, I was into it, I was getting prepared, I was ready. But I think as it kind of dragged along, over 100 hours, which, hey, that's kind of on me. But I don't know, it just seemed like a very hollow, empty shell. It is a licensed game. I that didn't escape my mind for a second. I thought, man, this is so cool. I really like this. I like that it's a part of the Harry Potter world that we can explore at our own pace, on our own time, our own way. But the game itself is just so... I had so many problems. I had a hard time figuring things out. I was constantly getting my mind messed with, and played with, mind games. And it's magic, I get it. I was on a semi-bad trip the entire time. Like, I just took a bunch of acid and I'm kind of sitting there attempting to play this game. It's so good, and it went off of the fact that it's very popular. A lot of people like Harry Potter, like 98% of the population. Those other 2%, I'm not even gonna go there. The customization is cool. You can create your own character that doesn't look nearly as good as the other NPCs, but hey, you know, I'll take what I can get. It just felt there was such a high production value here. There's such a AAA quality experience. But I think the gameplay, the quality of life, the mobility, the controls, the... whatever, getting stuck on a staircase, right? Just small piece, small thing, it added up, and throughout the game, everything became a chore. They gave you way too much to do. I didn't care for the story. It was very generic and lame and boring and stale. Granted, if they're gonna go for something of a story, I think what they did have to go for, that's all that they could do. I don't know, the cutscenes are good.
Ah, it appears we are almost ready to depart. It's a pity we didn't have a bit more time to spend on spellcasting. I presume you've been practicing the spells we worked on.
I have, Professor.
Well, I'm quite sure I've never seen anyone take so quickly to a second-hand wand.
There's very good face models, very good detail, obviously, especially next gen. Once again, this was a game I've played recently where they locked a pay-to-play behind a paywall. You have to pre-order it, pay extra, get a bunch of shit for it that I really didn't care for at all. Early access, as a content creator, which is a lot of people, they're gonna hop on that. For the Harry Potter fans, they're gonna hop on. It was a very greedy launch. I think it was a very unnecessary, like, hey, you get to play 3 days early. Forget even having early access the legitimate way by getting it through the developers themselves or however it works. This was more like, I was glad for the opportunity that I was able to even get the game at all, let alone early, let alone the deluxe edition, let alone pre-order. However, it did cost more, which upsets me. And just because I want the game and I want to play it doesn't mean I'm gonna like it either. So it's one of those things where every single game you buy, you're taking a risk, you're taking a dive. You don't know how much you really are gonna like it. You can use the best of your judgment, but that's only gonna go so far. The thing for me is like, okay, I got for what I paid for. No complaints, sir. No regrets. The game just isn't what I wanted. Maybe I had too much expectations. I don't know. Not enough, as much as I should have, too much. It's just... This whole game was just... I don't know. Like, I wanted to just get it over with. I wanted to be done. Easily halfway in, I was just ready to kind of like call it good. I kept having to figure things out, backtracking. It was one thing to do after another. It was almost too much. I'm like, dude, chill. And granted, this is an open world game. Everyone's gonna play it differently. They're gonna go through the main story. They're gonna do side stuff later if they do it all, which I doubt, because I guarantee once they get done with the main story, are you even really gonna give a shit about all the extra bullshit? Probably not. So what I had to do was do kind of a little bit of everything, back and forth, main story, side quests, exploring, collecting, looting, blah 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 blah. Which was good because it kept it fresh, it kept it going, it had a nice flow to it. I wasn't really trying to do too much of one thing at one time, although you could spend an hour easily doing one particular thing, no problem. It's... I don't know. I think it's just a lame excuse for a game or for content or for media or whatever, because it's like, dude, all someone has... It's been done a billion times. You look at the collective overall aspect of everything that's ever been made. It's like, dude, you create a world and you fill it with this and that and this and that. You have a world there. That's not hard to do, I think. Does it all have to have this kind of characteristic and formula and style to it? Sure. But it's been done many times. We've all seen it happen in multiple different places, and... But for me, it's like, I need more than that to really like connect with it the way that I'd like to. Once again, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, man, Alan Rickman, Snape, Dumbledore, Harry, where you at? Hell, Filch, dude. Give me Filch. Quirrell, Peter Pettigrew, Sirius Black. Jesus, the list goes on, man. And here's the thing, it's if you want to play the game, play the game. If you want to watch the movies, watch the movies. I get it. If you want to listen to the actual music that's not in-game, do that. I just hate that. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled. Like, I feel like my first overall Harry Potter video game experience, Warner Brothers... I just recently rewatched all the movies not long ago, like in the background, not like I watched every single second, but like I've seen the movies so many times, especially the third one. I love Harry Potter. I've watched it since forever. I already kind of talked about Harry Potter as a whole before, but there's so much to talk with alone in this game as it is. Good, bad. It's such an average C game to me. It's such a 5.0, 5 out. Would I give it a 5? No, I'd rate it much higher than that, but like, I think truthfully it's a 5. More so, I would give it, obviously, you know, an 8. I don't think it deserves a 9, but it's close. And granted, this was a great game to like really make use of your next gen load times. I realize there's PC. I realize it's coming out on next gen soon. That's another thing with this is you got the pre-order, pay more, early access, 10 extra bucks, just tax as well, sure, whatever. I don't know, whatever. It was already basically a next-gen game to begin with. You get a last-gen version if you get the deluxe edition, which is so weird because it's like, bro, that's a useless last-gen version we're gonna have now. When obviously if we were able to at all, and we probably did by now at this point, got the next gen version. And you gave us a couple dark arts things. Like, dude, who cares? Punch of shit, dude, that I didn't care for at all. I couldn't have been bothered or cared less to have those things. And this was a game that kind of forced me to go out of my way because of the position that I'm in. And I kind of don't like that. I like when everyone can kind of play the game at one time, and yes, there is more of an opportunity here, but I think it's just more fair that way, and everyone gets to kind of explore and play the game at the same time. No one had an early start, or no one had a late start. Because that's that extra money that it costed to get this deluxe edition, pre-order, whatever the person would have done to receive the game. You know, sometimes that's all it can take, is like, there might be some people that really like Harry Potter and maybe they weren't able to purchase it because of the fact that they're kind of greedy. And I know it's a movie-based thing and Hollywood and the industry, and I get it, it's a market, it's a business. But this is all that we have too, to kind of like keep ourselves busy, and I don't like how kind of greedy it was, and the fact that, oh, you get it early on next gen, then you get it on PC, and then you get it on on last gen. Holy. This game on last gen, I'm not even gonna go there, but I don't even want to like think about it. I don't know. This game's kind of a hot mess. It's so good in such specific certain areas, but man, it falls really hard in a lot of other areas. Too many. To where it was getting overwhelming. I kept finding more and more reasons, and I really try not to do that and go there. Because that's easy to do, right? It's easy to like just bitch and complain, but at the same time, I also care for the game too. I also give a shit. Passionate. But you know, just like all games, just like all things, it's there, it gets cheaper, it dies out. On to the next thing, on to the next game, on to the next Harry Potter thing. So for what it was, filling up a chapter in my life that was about a week's worth, I didn't stop playing this until it came out. There's one game I played for like 4 days in between, and that's it. Like, I was on this every single day. I did as much as I could comfortably do. There's no way I was gonna 100% everything or platinum or what. I was very happy with what I got done. I actually kind of like leaving some stuff undone and unfinished and unturned, because I think that leaves room for more. That leaves room for next time. If I ever want to get back into the game, I can do that. Gameplay was good. It was good, but it was bad at the same time. I think the spell casting was very confusing. They tried to do a lot with very little. They tried to kind of fill this world out so much that it was nice. And when you're thinking of magic and the universe that this is, and this is something they would have had to do, especially in today's standards in this day and age. I get it, but man, I think it could have been handled. What I think happened with a lot of games recently, Cyberpunk for example, they took on too much, and it just, for what fell flat, was really hard to make up for what was good. I don't know, I just think games lately have been kind of rubbing me the wrong way. But I realize that there's always not going to be perfect games. I think we always fall in these gaps where some games are good, some are bad. Some movies are good, some are bad. You know, whatever they're doing over there, that's on them. I'm not really sure how much influence we have as the audience and the consumer and the customer, you know, and all that, but these decisions are made for a reason. I don't know. It's like, I'm not sure how often devs, and obviously there's play testers, right? How often do these devs really, though? You know, that's their life. They know they're a game developer. That's their everyday life. It's their reality. But just, I don't know. Imagine if a developer for like 1 second was like, hey, if I was the most, you know, if I was just the most random person out there who wasn't myself, who wasn't me, how would I look at this game? Is this something we should even put out? Is there something we can do better? It's almost like every game I play, not most of them, but I'm just going off of recently, let alone like some games I have. There's always something to, and everyone's gonna have their own opinions and stuff, sure. But there's a point where some things are just so obvious that if it doesn't hit you right in the face, I don't know what will. There's some things that could have been dealt with, I think, so much easier and differently. Because here's the thing, they have all the power in the world to, like, decide when this game comes out, how it comes out. All that stuff. They're the ones in the control. They're the ones with the power. Is it going to be perfect? No. Human error is very much a thing. It's very natural. You know, we're just a bunch of people, animals playing on computers and stuff. Trying to make the video games. Yeah. I wish I had more better things to say than negative, but it's about 50-50. But yeah, the side quests were nice. I liked the customization. I liked all the outfits. I liked the graphics. Dude, I don't know. I mean, this was a very next-gen friendly, kind of really make use of your new shiny console. I feel like it was more of a showcase game, you know, like, and sure, there's been enough of those by now, but like, you know, to really flex what I think games as of right now are capable of, and this was a great game to set that example. And I think the catalyst that it used, which in this case is Harry Potter, worked out great. But man, even if you're trying to like watch and connect with someone during a stream or comments or whatever it may be, it's like, hey, this is really cool. How about that hippogriff, huh? How about this and that? Yada yada yada. We can't once be like, you know what? I'm so glad Snape was in here, for example. Oh my god, that moment, that line, what they said. And hey, I realized, like, the thing... Am I sad about the characters stuff? Yeah, because that's what makes these things alive. That's what really brings these games to life for me, is things like that. Characters are key. Dialogue, recorded voices, real people. The only organic thing you can even really put in a video game. Period. I was like, dude, I don't know. Half these people are... I don't give a shit. It took me the longest time to figure out that this was some sort of prequel, which... That's not always the easiest thing to, like, kind of really find out, because everything looks the same at some point. Ancient magic. I feel like they wrote the story in like a day, dude. They're like, oh, the big bad guy was not really impressive. Granted, I think the game started out great. I think it was really different and cool, and I don't know, man. I think this game is like a box of crayons or markers, but you're missing that one color, that two colors that you just have to have and you don't have, and you may happen to really like those colors and they're not there. It's an incomplete set, and it just ugh. The thing for me is like, hey, I'm not a Harry Potter head, but I think I like it so much to a point, and I've touched upon this kind of thing before. I don't have to pretend to like it so much and do all the research, watch all the videos, blah blah blah. I like Harry Potter in a much more deep, real, genuine, honest way, to where I really do give a shit about it. Probably more than most people, to be honest. And it's like, hey, it's not a competition, whatever, you know? I don't know, maybe I expected more. And I expect a lot. I have high expectations. But yeah, I'm like disappointed, I'm mad, I'm not mad, I'm angry, I'm not angry, I'm sad, I'm not sad, I'm happy, I'm not happy. Whatever, I don't know. Life goes on. It's a fucking video game. But yeah. A lot of enemies. There's a lot to the game. I mean, dude, it could go on and on and on and on. A lot of materials, a lot of resources, a lot of things to do, a lot of mechanics. It's kind of just a giant list of chores to me, but hey. Yeah, I don't know. It was trying to do its own thing so much, and I think that's what it did, but which I'm glad for, but I can't help but at the same time be honest about it and be like, hey, there's a lot of things missing here. And sure, games can only be made sometimes to complement the movies, to make you watch the movies, vice versa. And I think for a lot of people, not really myself, because I just recently rewatched them all. I'm not gonna do that again. I've had my fix. But yeah. Some other things, I got into Hufflepuff. I was supposed to be a Gryffindor. I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of extra stuff you can do on the website to get extra things, which normally I wouldn't have really given a shit for, but I was like, you know what, dude, Warner Brothers. It's kind of fun. It was exciting. It was a good little weird extra time. You know, I think starting out strong was a really big thing here, because you probably got the deluxe edition, I assume. Get more shit on top of that. Great. Man, I don't know. There's a lot of cool mythical beasts. There's a lot of things that were similar to the movies, but the things that made the movies great were not here, I think. Specifically, not in general. Sure, everything was obviously here, but like, you know, before I played, I didn't really watch any videos. I watched like a trailer or two, or, you know, whatever was available in the game store, I guess, at the time. I played this as soon as I was able to. As soon as I can get my hands on it. You know, for the first 3 days, I probably played about 12-ish, give or take, hours, you know, for 3-4 days straight, each day. Which was nuts, but that's how I was able to do what I did. just starting out, which I'm glad I did. The thing is, like, this is a great game to keep you busy. Maybe you got some side projects you're working on, you need something to stream or what have you. Something to do. Great. This is a great choice. But I think most open world games can kind of do that for you regardless, right? This is the most recent relevant thing, sure, but it's, you know, I wouldn't make this my go-to game. I'd like to come back and play you know, as a Slytherin or a Gryffindor or a Ravenclaw, and maybe just stick to the main story. I think there's some replayability here, but is it worth it? I think that's kind of the big question. You know, how much are you willing to redo all over again? They ask a lot out of you. The ancient magic shit I didn't really care for. I thought it was kind of a cheap, stale thing. There's a lot of discount characters here, like, yeah, they're not really the real thing that we're used to, but they'll do, I guess. Because if they went with the likeness of the characters, they would have gotten weird voices. They might have looked weird. They might have looked great. That's the thing with the game that frustrates me, is there was so much potential here to be done such a specific way, and this is the route that they chose, and you know, I'll accept it because I don't have a choice, but that doesn't mean that I absolutely, ultimately, 100% love it. As much as I'd like to love it, it's that game where I was just like, you know what, I just want to play something else. I got burnt out. It was exciting at first. I think if you spend too much time with it, it's just what's gonna happen, sure, but I think specifically with just all the little issues I was encountering every single day, I just didn't really feel like I'm in control, and yet I'm the one holding the controller. I'm the person here playing the game. And it's like the world was just fighting me the entire time. Getting around, you know, people not... Just all these little things. I could name off so many more that I didn't even get to. But I'm not trying to make this like a negative thing. It's just, this is how it ended up for me, and I'm gonna naturally speak my mind and what comes to mind, and not be too biased towards it, not lean towards one or the other thing. This is a very neutral kind of thing with me, so yeah, I don't know. Hogwarts Legacy. It's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's okay. So-so. It's meh. It's alright. But yes. Expecto Patronum!